Okay, guys, we're going to see what happens internally in JavaScript when you have an object and you try to create a new key value pair, or you try to overwrite something like here. So here we have a parent object. We change the property name to changed, and then it works. You see it on the right over here. But that only works because internally, all of these three checks passed. First, let's go over this one. The object's writable is true, which we know is correct because all of them are true when you use, what's it, object literal. Now, what if I change the writable to false by uncommenting this part right here? You're going to see that we don't get an error, but on the right, the name still says Philip. It's not changed. If I comment this out again, it's going to be changed. Same thing with object.freeze, right? If you freeze an object, you cannot add the property. What if you try to add a property with a different key? Nope, still doesn't work, right? All right, let me comment out object.freeze. Now it works. Also, condition 2 says the object cannot have a getter or setter with the same name. So instead of this name, let's just have it console.log Philip, and I'll make this a getter. Okay, so now when you try to add this key called name, it's going to check the object and say, oh, hey, there's actually a getter with that same name of name. So you can't do that. I'll say, okay, what about name 2? Yes. So that will work, right? But remember, if you freeze the whole object, then you cannot add any extra properties. Name 3 still does not work. Okay. I unfreeze, it works. But if there's a getter or setter, it doesn't work. Here, let me try set. No, set still doesn't work. Okay, so that's condition 1 and condition 2. Oh, this should be 3 and 4. Okay, let's talk about the prototypes. Okay, so condition 3 says the object's prototype can have the same key name, but the writable has to be true. Same with freeze and seal and so on. So what does that mean? Let me paste this in. Here, I created a new child object. I made its prototype this parent object. Now down here, I try to create a new key for my child object with the same key as the parent object, but it works. See, now the child object has name, its new name. Okay. So now when you try to access this property, you're going to get new name instead of Philip. Okay. But what happens if we uncomment this and change the writable to false? Right? You see that it doesn't work now. Right? If I uncomment it, it works. If I put it back, it does not work. Okay, so writable false does not work. Same thing with object.freeze, right? Let me uncomment. No. Okay, so if you freeze the parent object, the child object cannot create any new key names with the same name as in the parent object. So if I do age 30,000 like this, and then down here I do child obj.age is equal to 0, it doesn't work. But if I do age new, does that work? Yes, it works. Okay, I'm going to take away the object.freeze and let's look at condition 4. So condition 4 says the object's prototype is not a getter or setter of same name. So here, if I define a getter of name on the parent, the child object cannot have another key with the same value of name, but it can with name 2. You'll see new name here. Okay. Now, I want to show you something. What if this is set? So it's a setter, and it takes in new name. So it seems like the setter is blocking this, but the setter function will actually run, right? So you do console.log setter ran. See, you see that it ran, but then it prevents you from assigning a key with the value of name. But what if in here, instead of this, we do this dot new name, is equal to new name. What do you think is going to happen now? See? So now it works, right? But it's not working for the reason that you think. It's working because since parent is the prototype of child, when you try to do child.name, it's going to look up the prototype chain and it sees that it's a setter, right? So setter works by using equal signs like this. So you're actually calling this setter function when you're just trying to assign a new value on the children instance. And then now the this keyword is going to run, but the this keyword is going to be pointing to the child object. Okay. And since it's pointing to the child object, it's just going to create a new key name with the value of new name, right? And then whatever that you pass in. Now let me change this to blah, blah, blah. You're going to see that it works, but this part stays the same, right? Because this setter ran. But if I change this to ZZZ, you're going to see that it works too, right? And once again, setter ran. I want to make this point very important. So it's not ignoring because of the setter. It actually runs the setter and ignores your assignment.